So I'm finally doing it. All for one. I've struggled a lot to get a run in which I would be satisfied with. But thanks to this guy, Sebastian Virus, I got the direction I needed. Just play Deemer and go fast. He even challenged me to do it in less than both 20 days and before 127. All for one has been requested by a few more people, so here it is guys. The most iconic Heroes 3 scenario. All for one, low turn count. This is a medium-sized scenario, as most of you probably know, and we can play as either red or blue. Both of their starting zones are fairly rich in resources, XP, scholars, low-tiered fights. Both are connected to a pathfinding friendly side zone, and both have a subterranean gate to a somewhat barren underground area, but with a nice Easter egg for those unaware. In the underground, we can also find Tan, the unplayable color, who will, if you let them, be incredibly annoying to catch as they branch out to the nearby zones very fast, both underground and by both in the northeast corner. Anyway, I will be playing red, mostly because that's what we all did as kids, right? So how can I reach the other colors fast? There are 3 ways. Through the tower zone, which is incredibly slow, so we're not doing that, or by going through either garrison, fortified by Wood Elves plus Grand Elves, and Wood Elves respectively. If we go through the eastern garrison, the fastest path to both blue and tan is by taking on the fire elementals in the middle, and then make a 2-pronged attack on blue to the south and tan in the underground. However, this is very difficult to do with limited army and or mana, as both blue and tan will build up their armies, while all we do is bleed army on the way to them. This is not as big of an issue if we go for the third option, going through the western garrison. If we go this way, we can restore our mana on the magic well after the garrison fight, as well as by building a mage guild in the neutral rampart town on the way to blue. The way to tan would then be through the one-way portal, taking us to the middle zone without taking on the fire elementals, making a 2-pronged attack much more likely to succeed. There are still hard fights, but also good rewards, like the random relic artifact guarded by a random tier 7 creature west of the middle zone. But, surprise surprise, I'm not going for that this time. This is a no fly, no dimension door, no town portal run, incredibly enough. But okay, we know Deemer has good spellcasting, but what about army? If we're attacking tan and blue at the same time, we need a second hero who can fight. I'm guessing most of you are expecting Gunner or Shakti? Nuh-uh-uh, not this time. Troglodytes are too slow and too weak. You know what's faster and stronger? Harpies. And harpies? That means Lorelei. The next question is, how will we get enough harpies to win fights? I'll show you later. My plan here will be to spend as little time as I can in the starting zone, just collecting XP and the necessary resources to build what I need and get the stats required to just blaze through the map. This is a detail-heavy run in my opinion, so going through each decision here in the planning phase is not that interesting. We'll tackle the details when we get there. So, us as Dungeon and Deemer, check. Blue as Necro, as they're weak early and not native to swamp terrain, meaning they won't run too far away in the side zone, check. Tan as Rampart for no real reason, check. Gold bonus, as I need gold, check. Let's just see how this goes. Like, comment and subscribe. Due to popular demand, here's a second hee. To find my preferred seed, I need to enter the Sawmill Guard fight while being faster and reset 16 times. This gives me the God seed, as you will see. I start by leaving the Harpies in town, pick up some resources, getting crystals from the campfire, visit the Learning Stone, which levels me up into Advanced Wisdom, pick up more gold, as well as a Skull Helmet, which is incredibly good for a spellcaster like Deemer. I have enough gold to first hire Lorelei, then build a Harpy Loft, and finally recruiting all of the 4 Harpies I can afford. With her 22 Harpies, Lorelei heads out and takes on the Infernal Troglodytes guarding the Sawmill. This is a fight which would often lose me a Harpy or 2, but if I just move after waiting, then attack after waiting on turn 2, I always get a morale here, which lets me just one-shot the Trog stacks one by one. All calculated, honestly. Now, important stuff. I pick up the wood, then get the sulfur to the north and start heading south towards Deemer, who, on day 2, gets chain lightning from the scholar. It all comes together now. The advanced wisdom from the learning stone paying off already. Then I move him a bit up, meet him with Lorelei, trade over the harpies to Deemer, while also leaving some trogs on him, for a good reason. Then it's skeleton bashing time. This fight is on magic planes, meaning all spells will be cast at expert level, making the skeletons easy meteor shower food. At least 2 of the stacks. The third one needs 2 hits from the harpies to perish, but it's a pretty straightforward fight. I get 1000 gold from the chest, and immediately go for the ore pit guard fights of skeleton warriors. Only 2 stacks, so I can't take too many hits before losing creatures here. I fly in for a harpy hit on turn 2, taking the top skele stack out in 2 hits. This lets the bottom stack hit my trogs. Thankfully, the skellies die to retaliation plus a troglodyte hit, but I lost 4. Which is completely meaningless as I proceed to dismiss 5 more afterwards. The knowledgeable of you know what I'm doing here. This is a diplomacy trick. If your army is at least 50% of one creature type, creatures of the same type have a higher likelihood of joining you, given your army strength is big enough. I don't know the exact numbers needed here, but 18 harpies and 17 trogs are not enough, but 22 and 21 respectively are enough to get the 13 nearby harpies to join. A massive army boost. Not bad. The remaining trogs are then just deleted as well, and Lorelei flags the pit and moves into her dedicated spot for the next day. Eventful day so far, I think. Deemer gets a further 2k gold from the chest, rides down to Lorelei, who takes all of the harpies off of Deemer's hands. She heads back to town, where I have enough crystals and sulfur to upgrade the harpy loft, and just about enough gold to upgrade all of the harpies to harpy hags, and recruit the last few available. Good stuff. They all go back to Deemer, who restores his mana on the magic well, gets XP from a chest for the first time so far, getting basic earth magic, which is good for his meteor shower casts. Next stop, the garrison. For this fight, I want the trogs. All 7 go over to Deemer, who splits them into 1 stacks and engages the garrison fight against the elves. Thanks to the chain lightning, this is easy peasy. Just hit the middle one, and the 4th bounce should hit one of my trog 1 stacks. The 2 lonely remaining wood elves can then be finished off by the harpy hags on turn 2. Here we see I skip Diplo, which is how I initially got the harpies in earlier runs on this seed. I leave everything but 12 harpies in the garrison, go back to the magic well, and set Deemer's sights on the Rampart village. Lorelei, on the other hand, picks up the 44 harpies from the garrison, leaving her 1 trog behind, and goes towards the one-way portal. The 2-pronged attack begins. She gets some XP from a chest as well, leveling up her leadership, which is always good with harpy hags, and makes her way towards the underground. Deemer swings by the Garden of Revelation for a quick +1 knowledge, then takes on the trees blocking the path. Otto is smashed, but he doesn't know how to use Meteor Shower. With his 50 mana, Deemer just cruises here. 1 shower equals 3 kills, move a bit around, 2 showers equals 3 more kills, and the final 3 could be taken out in 3 hits, but I want to shower it instead. In meteors. Classic Deemer fight. I get gold from the chest, then take the Rampart town by showering some centaurs as well. In meteors. Before I just head inside and build a mage guild to restore my mana. On to day 6. Lorelei is first up. To farm some XP, she takes on some fire elementals on the way to Tan. Oh, an upgraded stack. Not in my plans. I wait, let them move, and fly in for a hit, getting a nice morale after killing 4 out of 5. Obviously killing the last one afterwards. Now, for a bit of kiting. Since the fire elementals are such weak creatures, I can safely take a hit from a 2-stack before the classic harpy kiting begins. Fire elementals can't morale, as they are elementals, but my harpies can, especially so due to my advanced leadership. So I just fly around, waiting for morales. Not the most interesting stuff, but after 17 rounds, I get the final hit in, Lossless. Very nice. In Deemer's part of the world, I recruit the 8 dwarves from the Rampart town, swing by a star axis for a +1 spell power, Tokyo Drift by the Centaur stables for 40 free horsemen, and go for the unicorns blocking the way, completely ignoring the Earth Tome guarded by few giants. What missed opportunities. The unicorns are a nightmare to fight. Get it? God, I'm so funny. These horned horses blind, often, which is very annoying. They have 90 HP, so I can't one-shot the 2 stacks with my 175 damage meteor showers, which is also annoying. So chain lightning it is. Then I start boxing in my harpy hags while baiting the bottom stacks with my hot dwarves. After calculating I can take out the top stacks with my harpies, I meteor shower 3 stacks at the bottom, but one of them resists, which is also annoying. The harpies then don't even finish off the top stack, which goes on to blind my centaurs. This is going well so far. Thankfully, my huge dwarf stack takes it out. I could just finish both the 1 stacks off with a meteor shower, but I want to save some mana, so I hit with the harpies instead. The unicorns finish off my dwarf 1 stacks, then one of them gets a morale of course, so I gotta make a decision here. The decision ends up being going for a magic arrow for the kill. Then magic arrow plus harpy hit on the final stack for the fight finish. Too much mana used, but a win is a win. Advanced earth and +1 spell power picked up, dwarves and centaurs dismissed to not slow me down, and only enough mana for a single meteor shower cast left. Could get ugly this. I pass blue's open garrison on day 7, getting some vision from the Redwood Observatory, seeing 2 heroes in the side zone, before heading for their unguarded town. Scary stuff here. Lorelei finds her way to a zombie fight blocking the way to Tan, and as you can imagine, this is pretty easy. The top stack dies to 2 hits, the bottom one does as well, but it needs a bit of kiting. Very simple stuff. On blue's turn, they send their strongest hero to take on Deemer, Septiana. This is a really cool fight, which I win lossless by casting a single magic arrow. Can you see how? I'll give you 5 seconds to think. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I magic arrow the liches for 90 damage, then fly into this secluded area of the battlefield. The harpies can freely hit all of the enemy stacks from this spot, and Septiana has no mana for counterplay. Quick combat for a finish, and it's a good fight. With their biggest threat out of the way, I take on their town, which is now guarded by Gondola and 1 Wolf Rider. I don't want to spend more mana, just in case, so I just accept the 1 Harpy Hag loss result, before going for the Subterranean Gate, where they always seem to have a hero hiding. Afterwards, I trade some ore to afford a 3rd hero in the blue Necro town, Cult. But first, Lorelei goes for Tan's town, which is barely guarded. Very unusual for this seed. I accept the auto results, as the losses are probably from arrow towers, which has no real counterplay. Since there are no heroes nearby, I guess they are in the overworld to the northeast, maybe? Which they definitely were. 2 of them. Thankfully not reached the ocean yet. I conclude I can keep both of them here, or get them to attack me by just staying on the Subterranean Gate. So I do. Cult then bolts for the blue tower hero after getting 1 whole lich from the Necro town. Not quite reaching. A blue hero appears in the underground, and Tan's Yulin attacks Lorelei. Otto's losses were a bit too much, so I do it manually. I wait, lose 2 harpies to a magic arrow, then take out his 5 Pegasi in 2 hits. His centaurs then move into range, and I hit. They hit, and die to retaliation. Very nice. Here I pick up tactics, and Tan's final hero tries to get away by boat. Not gonna let that happen. So at first opportunity, Lorelei attacks. Ivor is taken out by Otto, which is probably due to tactics letting the harpies reach the wood elves easily. Good stuff, and I accept, which means Tan is vanquished. Lorelei goes back underground to pick up a chest to the south, getting 1500 gold. Deemer then goes for Nagash Underground. Auto wins again, and there's no way there are more blue heroes down here, right? So I can just accept the results again. Before going back up to the overworld, taking on some skeletons. These are easily disposed of with a few magic arrows and a couple of harpy hits. I just about reached the campfire, giving some wood and a little bit of gold of course. Colt then takes the unoccupied blue fortress village, and I build a tavern with the now 6 wood, recruit Ajit, ignoring Christian, my beloved, as he has no army. Can I get a hashtag justice for Christian in the chat, guys? What a sad day. I even get the first aid tent from the blacksmith blue build, as it probably means they have one as well. All but one Krog goes to Ajit and takes on Serena. As I believe this is the last fight, and as Auto won, I just let him finish the scenario off. In this fight, I think the first aid tent is actually the difference maker, because it heals up the chip damage from the Lizardman every turn. If I didn't buy that, I would probably bleed some army every turn and then slowly just lose the fight. Anyway, it's always nice to see Auto finish off a scenario, and this is no exception. Overall, this was an absolute blast to do, after a lot of frustration trying to find a satisfactory way to do it. It took quite a few tries to get it right, and a lot of small details with resources to pick up, movement to reach certain parts at certain times, and so on. But when it clicked, can't replicate that feeling. And with that, Serena is defeated. Blue is vanquished, All for One is beaten, in 9 days. 448 score and Archangel rank? That's not bad. If you could mind control the AI to attack you on day 8, this is probably doable in 8 days with this strat, but I'm very happy with this still. Excellent challenge, Sebastian, and I hope this was as fun to watch as it was to play. If you enjoyed, please leave a like, comment and a subscription. Channel members get access a day or 2 early to videos, so sign up for that if you want to. I hope to see you next time, and that you have a might and magically good day. Bye bye. As always, a huge thank you to all my channel members, and a special shout out for my Ballista channel members, Escubani, Lika, Van Lunis, Rick Vishaupt, and Kat. Thank you so much.